what I want to say is this, because I deal with this realm of, if you would, of spiritual things, is that one of the things I have learned is that even had he said something, what I would have done was put it on a shelf. And it just exactly like what I did with this woman. I believe that was the Lord that spoke that she'd been raped. I moved with what I thought, and then I looked at and watched the fruit. Where I'm at in life and these forces that I deal with, and yes, I deal at times with fallen angels. I've seen them both in the physical and the spiritual form. I have dealt with these demons. I've had them speak to me through people. I've had them growl at me, bark at me, spit at me, you name it. But I hold all those things only as subjective, and the only thing that I accept as the absolute truth is the Bible itself. And therefore, it keeps me in reality. I want to use that correct word.
Now, how did these people find you, Kim?
Well, so far it's been through the website. But it's the kind of thing that I let people know what I do. But there have been, in all honesty, among Christianity, there have been a lot of kooks. I understand people's reluctancy, the ones that I talk to are the ones that, quite frankly, would scare most Christians out of their britches. Most of the time, even when they contact me, they're afraid they're going to receive some kind of rejection because they've talked to other people and they've either not been able to help them or they just couldn't believe what was going on with them.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Did any of these people that have been bothered by demons, did they ever say anything about that they were being attacked from the back of their head?
A demonic attack could come from any kind of direction or source. I've talked with people in the past, like migraines or headaches. Sometimes the demonic forces can cause that, and they feel like a band that's around the head that's being squeezed. But it's very possible.
So if somebody contacts you and they say, I have a demon in my house, you're able to make that demon go?
First of all, houses and people are a little bit different. So let's deal with people first.
Okay.
The person has to be what I would define as a Bible-believing, born-again Christian, if you would. There's a lot of terms we could use, but they have to be one that's trusting in Christ. Because the Bible teaches, and the teachings of the New Testament is, those who are not in Christ are subject to the principalities and the prince of the power of the air. All right. In other words, it's a matter, this demonic thing is a matter of authority. But if a person is Christ, then that person, by the virtue of whose kingdom, if you would, that they're in, then those demons don't have a legal foothold, so to speak. And then somebody like myself can come along and, as really any believer could, I think God just teaches some a little bit more on some areas than others, but can come along and can make those demons leave that person.
But they have to be a Christian or born again.
They would have to be a person who is a Christian by the Bible definition of that word.
And so what if somebody comes to you who is not in that definition?
If they're not, then that's where we would start the discussion.
To get them to go to become born again or a Christian?
Right, because without the forgiveness of sins, they're still under the power of the prince of this world, which is the devil. See, the devil controls fallen angels to a great deal. Not every one of them. They're a rogue bunch of group. But the powers that be that control the government, the world's affairs, that are leading even the world toward an all-new world order, which is not good.
Can we talk about this, your views on the world order?
The Illuminati. He mentioned that in his book.
Right, so let's go there. So what is your take on that?
Well, when I use the word New World Order, what I'm referring to is a new monetary system, a one world government, and a one world religion. And this primarily comes from the apocalypse of the book of Revelation. Now, in order to get there, I think you have to collapse the money system that you've got. You've got to collapse the world's religious system, and you've got to collapse the world's governments. So, in the process of all of that, one man arises, the Antichrist and the beast. And I feel that this Antichrist will be a Nephilim. His father will be Lucifer. He'll be born of a human woman. He'll look much like we do. He won't be distinguishable just by his appearance. But he'll lead the worlds into a one world government, but this will not happen until there's been very much chaos in this world. A third of the world possibly will be burned up. There'll be plagues and pestilence. The four horsemen of the apocalypse will have started their ride before he actually comes to the forefront. So the world will be crying out, looking for somebody to take charge, to turn some kind of chaos here into some kind of order. And I think this is also when we'll have this, quote, alien disclosure. That's when they become involved. And I think that they're connected with the beast of the book of Revelation. And I think that's when we'll begin to see all kinds of these Nephilim in different forms, shapes, and colors, so to speak. And all of this will tie into a new monetary system that somebody will have to become a part of in order to buy or sell. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this, and that's usually in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelations. They refer to it as the number of 666. Well, all I can say is I think it will show as some kind of a mark or difference on the right hand and on the forehead. But I think what's more violent about it is the fact that this mark will actually, in some form, shape, or manner, will actually change the DNA of that person. So, hence, we're talking about a world just before Christ returns that has, again, the whole world has become corrupted. All flesh that's within the world.
You know that giant that was at, was it Pope John's funeral? Has anybody thought about trying to get his DNA?
Well, I don't know that you could just walk in the North Korean army and say, hey, I want to stick this in your mouth and get a piece of your DNA.
They could get it from anything, underneath his nails, anything. But I wonder if anybody, because somebody captured that picture, I wonder if anybody is thinking the same thing about trying to get his DNA.
My guess is that somebody goofed and let him be out there to have a picture taken of him.
So you don't think that he's allowed to be out on his own free will?
No.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So you think there are more of him over there in Korea?
Oh, yeah. And if they have them, we have them.
I haven't hadn't seen any.
I hadn't either, but I feel certain that if North Korea has the technology, or the evil technology, if you would, to do this kind of thing, because I think fallen angels are involved in this transhumanism, this, in England the other day, it came out that they had created 155 hybrid experiments. Where's all this going? Well, it seems to be part of this agenda, although I don't understand it completely. But I know if North Korea is creating super soldiers, they're not the only ones doing it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
And
so
that goes back to my conjecture that, if you showed up today and said you were an alien to any government of the world, how would you prove that? Well, you'd offer technology. You'd help them make the super soldier. You'd give them technology that they didn't have. So I do expect that what actually destroys the world's religions is when disclosure comes out and the government says, oh, well, we've been communicating with aliens from blah, blah, blah star system. And, immediately the ancient astronaut theory it's taken over the world.
Interesting.
So you were talking about the markings on the hand or the forehead. Are you talking like an implant, or are you talking numbers, or?
Well, it's not entirely clear.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of writers that have written about it. In the 13th chapter of the book of Revelations, it talks about a mark on the right hand and a mark in the forehead, or in the forehead. And it talks about the number 666 being the number of a man.
Right.
Now, I have my own particular take on this, is that, some people think it's like a barcode or an implant.
Right.
But the Bible in Revelations, and there's a lot there I do not understand. I wouldn't even begin to tell you that yet. But it's pretty clear that any person who takes this mark is hell-bound. He's going to the lake of fire. There is no other way around it. And so, to me, what has occurred to me, and also to a writer by the name of Tom Horn, is that this mark may be like a vaccine. It may be something that somebody takes, maybe to prolong their life, to cure innumerable sicknesses. There's got to be a plus side here somewhere.
For everybody to want to jump. Well, but they also say that you won't have a choice if you don't take the injection or get the number or whatever, that you're killed.
Right, and that's been the normal take on that, and I think that's correct, but I think it has a positive side that's going to make people want to run down there and take it.
I see. So like recently with this swine flu, they didn't have enough for everybody, and then suddenly they had so much for everybody. Are you kind of going in that line with what's going to go on?
Well,
There'll be a fear put out there?
Well, I think the carrot will be bigger.
Okay.
I think the carrot will be that this will somehow extend your life.
Oh, so people want to live longer.
That's what I think the carrot will be.
So do you think then the whole population of the earth they're going to succumb to this? Is that what you're kind of getting?
Exactly. And they're going to either know or not know. My guess is it would be a known fact that, it's a changing of the DNA structure.
Right.
And we're being programmed now that that's all right. We can take viruses and we can plug in parts of genes that make people healed.
Right.
Well, I think that's what this mark is going to do, is change the genome a little bit. Well, then what really happened is you changed a human being to something that's not a human being.
Right.
So therefore, there is no salvation for that person. I think that's what the book of Revelation is warning about.
Right. Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot to think about.
But it all fits together. And that's what I do with the book, is I tie in all of this stuff to make, as you might say, put all these dots together.
Right.
That was a very interesting interview.
It really was.
Wow. I mean, you said some things I've never heard before from anybody, Kim.
What's been the response on your book since you were, you kind of took a deep breath and put it out there? What are people saying about your book?
Well, I did have a sigh of relief once I got it out there and started some of the promotion started on it. I found out, I just have to tell you what I've really found out is that I'm the Baptist fundamentalist among the Coots. I thought you'd like that. I think that's funny too. When I got on Facebook, and I've got a group on Facebook, and I've started getting involved in these groups, and I have people that flood my website with questions, and I'm sitting here saying, let's go back to the Bible. What does the Bible say? And they're trying to go into 10,000 directions that you just. I could tell you some of the funny theories out there, and you would be rolling because they're so funny. And so that's why I say, I mean, what I'm telling you may sound like the most outlandish things that you've ever heard, but since I got into this, I'm finding out that I'm the old-time Baptist fundamentalist sitting back here, and everybody else is nuts.
That is so. Can you again tell people where they can get your book and your website?
Certainly, thank you. The book is Fallen Angels, Giants, UFO Encounters, and the New World Order. It's available at Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Nobles. It's even available on Walmart website now.
Wow.
It's in many bookstores. It can be ordered. I think the easiest way to get it is either from my website, which is fallenangelstoday.com, or simply just go to Amazon and put C.K. Quarterman, Quarterman. It'll come right up there, and you can purchase the book. If you come to my website, one advantage to that is I can autograph it for you, and I'll get it out to you the next day. And some of your Christian bookstores, online retailers, christianbook.com has it. Armageddon Books is carrying it. Many of them are carrying it. And if you do a search on Google for the name of the book, Fallen Angels, Giants, UFO Encounters, just get that much in there. The book will come right up. You'll see there are many retailers for the book.
Well, Kim, we want to thank you so much for being our guest tonight. It was very interesting. I mean,
thank you for having me.
Oh, it was really great. I've heard things tonight I've never heard before from anybody, especially an author. I mean, it was fabulous. I really we enjoyed it.
New insight. So
yes,
thank you.
Yes. And
you're a gracious host, and I appreciate it.
I hope you don't mind our questions.
No, they have been very good, and it's been very enjoyable this evening, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. And viewers, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, thank you, Kim, for joining us as well. And so we're going to say goodnight to everybody, and thank you so much. See you next week.
Good
thank
night.
you. Good night.
Blessings.